Well, we really, well, we came back a year and a half ago just because we love Alicante, and we love Alicante because of our memories of IVF Spain, really.
Yeah, experience.
Yes, it's we feel at home in the town, and that's made us feel that it was always the right place to get help to have Isaac, really. And we came, yes, he's looking at me, and we came back particularly this year so that Isaac could understand why it was so special for us.
Yeah. It's the warmth, the welcoming people. It made it special for us. So as a result, when we came back and we wanted to show him where he originated from, you know, this was the perfect time.
I remember the doctor saying to us, "You will definitely have a baby next year." Do you remember? She was so absolute. And in England it was always, well, you know, 20% chance of, you know, or it mostly fails, whereas this doctor just said to us, "You will have a baby." And she said it with such confidence that we believed it. And then when we arrived, it was so professional and so...
It was just incredibly positive.
Yes.
The experience we had in the UK was always the negative, the downside of the journey, as opposed to coming to Spain. They always gave the positive side, and this is what we're going to try differently to allow you to have a baby, which is not what we had in the UK.
It was all about having a family, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The emphasis in Spain was very much, including the legal system around it, was around actually the importance of being able to have a family. Friendly and professional, and it was the professional piece, it was the science. We were both tested fully so that the program was bespoke, you know, it was tailored to us, and obviously the first time it didn't work, and then it got tailored again, and I just felt I haven't got a negative memory of it at all. I mean, I have a short memory for bad things anyway, but I just felt I was in safe hands because it wasn't... One of the places we went to in England was partly in a hotel. You know, it felt like it was almost an illegal activity, whereas here I felt like all the science was behind it.
Yeah, for me it was very transactional in the UK. You go in, you fill out the forms, you do a test, you do this procedure, and it doesn't work, you just start again. Whereas here it's very integrated, so as a result, when it didn't work the first time, there was a real science behind, okay, so this didn't work the first time, let's try something slightly different the second. And it very much felt like a journey. It was just a journey that you went on, as opposed to, oh, one transaction's finished, you start a new transaction.
So we went through the donor egg treatment because I had tried in the UK with some of my eggs, but they were a little bit too old. I think they'd put me down as unexplained as to why we weren't falling pregnant, but I think it was an age-related issue. And what was lovely about Spain is that there's an embracing of donor eggs, and it is again about the emphasis on being able to have a family, whereas in the UK it was only older people who were donating eggs, which meant that the chance of it being successful was very poor. Plus here, we went down the donor egg route where they at least try match up how you look to your donor so that you end up with a child that is very much, you know, part of your family.
Yep.
It is what it is, in the sense that I think either way we would have been happy. Because it's part of, my understanding is it's part of the law in Spain. Is that right? Yes. Yes, I'm a lawyer. So for me, if that's part of the law, then I can completely understand it. And I think one of the reasons it's failed as a system in England is because there isn't anonymity. Because when people want to donate their eggs, they don't want to be a mother at that point. You know, we have lots of eggs when we're young, and clearly there's a willingness amongst, or maybe part of the culture in Spain, to do this.
As part of the process, I have to give a sample of my sperm, and I think the funniest moment that we shared was the fact that I have to go into this little room to do the donation. And in the UK,
Chris loves corny music. He loves
in the UK it tended to be, you know, a magazine that would assist maybe. Here in Spain you got the videos and
You're looking a bit too happy about that.
It was just very corny, a bit.
It was Grease the musical.
A bit seedy, but at the same time it just brought a smile to our face. It was just the comedy element that came across.
But there was also, never mind that piece, but you did, it was funny because Chris does like Grease the musical. But there was also what we called the embryo each time.
Oh yes.
Yes.
So we called the first one Ollie. Our little embryo.
Our little embryo. Then we had Ollie 2, and then we had Ollie 3.
We did. Yeah.
Yes.
We always named them.
We named each embryo, and we've kept a picture of each embryo.
Yeah.
It might be that was the story you wanted rather than the video. But you know, it isn't, because I think people think IVF isn't intimate, whereas it is still intimate because we shared all the moments, didn't we? It's not,
I think that was the important aspect, is sharing the moments. I mean, it is awkward, but at the same time, it was really important to share the awkwardness for both sides.
Maybe that was the thing about the video, because then it made us have a giggle about it, and it became that intimate moment.
Yeah.
And naming the embryo made it that intimate moment. And coming to Alicante, coming somewhere beautiful, where we feel like we fit in. You know, we walk down the streets, the people don't look so different from us. You know, again, that was fun. And the injections, I soon forgot about those, because I do remember that do you remember we had them in a tin can? The injections, because we
having to do them every day, and wherever you were, you had to take it at a certain time.
Yes, absolutely, and we have done. We've actually recommended so many people. I've recommended IVF Spain to so many people, and I think sometimes they're scared to try something new and not realising that actually it's not that new. It exists in England, but this is just better. And also you get to do it in a place where you can have a holiday. Actually, I love that idea, yes. It's like a fertility retreat, because I remember when the time we were successful with Isaac, we went to our favourite restaurant in Alicante, Numanalin, it was, wasn't it? Which is just a beautiful, beautiful old Spanish restaurant full of Spanish people. And we went there with him. We went on our first day, and we took him there last time because he loves octopus. So it's a whole experience, as opposed to just going into a clinic and leaving without any emotion. So it's the intimacy, isn't it?
Exactly. I think there is an awkwardness when you say go to Spain, get your treatment done in Spain. I think generally people don't think about going abroad to have this sort of treatment. But if you can get over the mindset of going abroad, what we found is it's a much more intimate, as Susie said, a much more intimate, much more family-oriented experience than what we had experienced in the UK. And we tried a number of times with a number of different clinics in the UK before coming to Spain.
Because I read, but I also don't think you should ever lie to a child. Because if they find out something when they're 18, it's like, why didn't you tell me? And then the suspicion sets in. Whereas at this age, you know, it's part of him. You know, we've not hidden anything. Whenever he's asked about how he's born, we've always talked about the egg. It wasn't mummy's egg. He just didn't understand it until now. And like that, it will never be a mystery for him. And when it comes to the anonymity, he understands that, he does understand that some things are allowed and some things aren't. Yeah. He did say to me that had he had the donor mummy given birth to him, would she have been his mummy? And we explained that that wouldn't have worked because you would have needed your sperm and also my blood. And I was told by the doctor there's a little bit of my DNA because of the blood, a little bit. So no, it wouldn't have worked that way. And he looked at me and went, okay, I got it. Because children at this age are very practical, and then it becomes part of who they are. It's been worth every single penny, every single injection. I mean, you know, he's a blessing. We always say to him he's got a bit of Spanish magic to him. That's how we explain it. But yes, I mean, I've met parents who've given up, and I wish they'd tried here because they tried so hard in England. It might not work, but it's worth it. It's worth trying, even if you just have a lovely holiday in Alicante.
It's true. You know, it's an expensive business doing IVF and having fertility treatment, and in the UK it is incredibly expensive, and we've already gone through the negatives of the UK. In Spain you get a lot
more for it.
You really do.
Yeah.
It's, from a purely economic, financial perspective, it is more economic and better financed to do it through IVF Spain. You get a lot more treatment, a lot better care, a lot better aftercare, you know, than we ever did when we were in the UK.
Actually, that's probably what people need to hear. If you're going to spend the money, you might as well spend it somewhere where you're going to have all the tests and a proper treatment plan.
Yep.
And a donor egg, from our perspective, that's appropriate for your family.